And we're moving now to our eclipses. The first eclipse coming up is going to be in December 26th, right after Christmas, depending on where you are in the world, 26 or 27, I believe. And Oner Doser is our master astrologer from Turkey. He has very extensive teaching programs in Turkey, and English is his second language, and he's doing extraordinarily well bringing this knowledge to us. His background is traditional astrology. And the interesting thing about these eclipses is that they are also occurring with Jupiter conjunct the eclipse. So it's not, it ties all the themes together. So Oner, are you with us? Let me see. Can't hear you, Oner. You're muted. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Morris. And shall I share my own slides or will you share it? I will try if I can.
Try to share. If you can't, I'll get them.
Right. I will try to do.
No, you shouldn't be going. Okay, right.
Okay, so if you can, please.
Okay, so
Thank
I'll share your slides. Just a moment. So just, do you want to speak about your track first? Before
yeah, a bit. Thank you. And maybe in my first slide, we can show my book on HORARY and my agenda as well.
HORARY Astrology.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Just a moment.
Thank you. And the second one. Yes, the art of HORARY is a very special branch of astrology, actually. It is like a summary of traditional predictive astrology, and its rules are similar to chart reading, but of course, with some additional practices, actually. If you apply the rules properly, you may get highly reliable results. So it's a very specific branch of astrology. I always get spontaneous questions during my consultation. And of course, you may answer the questions you receive through the help of natal chart or synastry chart. However, erecting a HORARY chart gives you the chance to give the point answer for specific questions. And HORARY astrology is like a puzzle waiting to be solved. And if you apply the rules carefully, you delve into the matter like a detective. When you focus on the details and be patient, you may give an exact answer to the question you receive and inform the caring. So during the 3 days course I prepared for OPA Retreat, we will begin with the HORARY rules. Then we'll study questions related to marriage and relationships and business and career. We will also study on various questions and practices and how we may use the rules to answer the questions we receive. And you see my agenda here. By the way, I have a book on HORARY astrology, and this book will be at Amazon by next week, by the way. This is the first time I'm giving information about it. I'm announcing here.
So it's also part of the raffle. You know, we're going to give the book as a prize.
Yeah. So we can begin to my slides. Thank you very much, Morgan. Yes, here we see the eclipse chart, and we see that Jupiter is very close to the eclipse. And of course, Jupiter is combust according to traditional rules. and also in his pole in sign Capricorn and in conjunction with Saturn. But in the next slide, we will see where we can watch the eclipse, please. So this annular eclipse will begin from Arabian Peninsula, then India, and to Bengal, to Singapore and Indonesia. Places represented by Capricorn are here. There are many places actually, but India is one of the most important because the eclipse will be watched from there. And you see the other yellow pointed places such as Albania, Bulgaria, and also Turkey and Syria, and trace part of Turkey, and Brussels, Mexico, Finland, etc. Where the eclipse is watched is one of the most important things, but also the places under the rulership of that sign which eclipse falls is very important as well, especially when you extract a chart and see that in those places the eclipse fall in one of the angular houses, first house, 10th house, 7th house, or the 4th. So in the next slide, we see that the eclipses in earth signs, according to traditional astrologers, endure crops and the products and fruits of the earth. By the way, I will approach on the traditional side, and I will give some information from the older astrologers, traditional astrologers, and mostly they see the eclipses as some dramatic events at the sky and giving information about the future and warning them. So tonight I want to touch to the points which they give us. Maybe it will be too realistic or to the ground because, as we know very well, we have many planets in Capricorn and the eclipses are in Capricorn. So we have to come down to earth and we have to put our foot down firmly. And the realities are very important, especially on the economical side. And of course, the soils of the products of the soils are very important, will be very important in the next year. And according to traditional astrologers, business world is also disturbed or depressed, and the trade as well, when the eclipses fall in Capricorn and the agriculture suffers and troublesome financial problems arise. And also the eclipses in our signs, such as Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, are seen unfortunate for the government, especially the ones falls in Capricorn, for the statesmen and sometimes to the monarch. And what is the most important one, drought may follow, as we will see in the next slide, the coming information from the traditional astrologers. So may I get the next slide, please? And eclipses in cardinal signs. According to traditional astrologers that are associated with political issues and especially changes in governments and state affairs and changes in business life especially, and also world trade is affected by the eclipses in the cardinal signs, but this is true mostly for Capricorn. And also the changes in weather conditions are significant during the eclipses in cardinal signs. As we know very well, they are big starters of the seasons. And according to traditionals, again, damages will occur suddenly in line with the characteristics of the eclipses are emphasized. And in the next slide, we are seeing some information that is coming from William Dilly, who is the writer of Christian astrology, who lived in the 17th century, and from Sadullah el-Ankarabi, an Ottoman astrologer from the 19th century. And William Lilly says, when an eclipse occurs in Capricorn, olive trees are invaded by gasteropods and worms, etc. So when the eclipses falls in sign Capricorn, according to SOLAR Eclipse, also grass dries and crops get scarce. So what they are warning for, the products of the soils, first of all. The agriculture is very important, as we understand. The husbandry will be very important in the next year. In the next slide, please. And as we see here, there are many planets in Capricorn. Of course, we have Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn at the moment, and Jupiter soon will be in Capricorn. And also I use Ceres here to show you that it is also a part of the eclipse very close to Saturn. And Ceres is the great corn goddess, Earth Mother. It is related with nurturing principle and the food issues. So it's again, take our attention to the food, to the crops, to agriculture. Next slide, please. And when Jupiter is in Capricorn, is in conjunction with CAUDA, South Node, namely, it actually, North Node is benefic traditionally, but the South Node is seen malefic. So when a planet is in conjunction with the South Node, its energy, its potentials are lessened, decreases. And this is true, especially when Jupiter in the sign where it is full. And according to Sadullah Ankarabi, the Ottoman astrologer, when Jupiter in fall, it brings hesitations and astonishments of viziers. Viziers are under the rulership of Jupiter, by the way, and scholar and the statesman. And look at that, instability of prices and false decisions in management and politics, and non-profitable trade and inactivity of customs gates. And again, he is saying that the conjunction with the South Node brings especially problems to the religious people or people who are in high class in general, and the benefit side diminishes and the prices in market change. And also he is warning us about bad weather conditions. Next slide, please. And according to him, when Jupiter is combust, in this eclipse, as we see, Jupiter is combust. When Jupiter is combust in Capricorn, it indicates severe cold in weather. And when the South Node in Capricorn, severe cold and earthquake is seen in the winter, because Capricorn is one of the earth signs. And according to Chris Brand-Riske, when Jupiter is in northern declination or in Aries or Leo, it brings higher temperatures, but in other configurations, it produces cold weather and high winds, especially when Jupiter configured with Mars or Pluto, it indicates drier conditions or drought. So in the next slide, we will see the chart is here. Jupiter is not in conjunction with Saturn or Pluto, but in the next slide, it is not here. Can we see the next one, Morris, please? Yes, it is here. Jupiter will be very close to Pluto and Saturn, beginning from the last days of February, and then Jupiter will be in conjunction with Saturn, Pluto in March. So what the astrologer told us, the Brand Risker told us about the bad weather conditions or drought possibly will be the case, especially by the end of February or by beginning of March. And as we see here, Mars will be triggering the eclipse beginning from the end of February. And in the next slide, as we see here, Jupiter will be very close to Pluto and Mars. Saturn will be changing the signs for a while, but this triple conjunction is an indicator that there will be some struggles, especially in March. What I want to take your attention to the beginning of March, because there are two rulers of this eclipse. Because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, as the main ruler of this eclipse, is placed in the 20 degree of Capricorn. And because Jupiter is very close to eclipse degree, and the second ruler of this eclipse, because of this close conjunction, its transits are very important, especially to Saturn. So Jupiter will be in conjunction with Saturn by the beginning of March. Especially, I think it will be around 7th of March. And as Sadullah Ankaravi told, earthquakes are likely, can be the case. So if you look at from the traditional predictive astrology side, the beginning of March is taking too much attention because the moon will be out of bounds around, I think, the 5th of March. And in the 9th of March, we will have a supermoon at the time of full moon. So around the 7th of March, we have to pay attention to the, catastrophes like earthquakes and the like. This is what I wanted to warn, and relating to the traditional rules in general, but also the information taken from the old astrologers. So the next slide, please. As we see here, there is another triggering time to eclipse, and 21st June 2020, there will be an eclipse in the first degree of Cancer, which is opposing to the degree of 26th December eclipse. And then in the next slide, we see that Mars is triggering the eclipse in the beginning of July for the second time. So again, by the end of June and by the beginning of July, we have to be careful about the economical conditions as well as earthquakes or some other catastrophic kind of things. And again, one of the most important things that we have to pay attention to the products of the soil crops, because for the next 3 years, there will be no planet in fire signs. Jupiter will be in Capricorn, and then Aquarius, and then Pisces. So Saturn will be in Capricorn, then Aquarius, and Pluto will be in Capricorn again, Neptune will be in Pisces. So no outer planet will be in fire sign. This is why I would like to take your attention to the possibility of drought and to the products of the soil. And the next thing, the market. Especially, I'm also interested in sunspots and their cycles. Especially the scientists are warning that there may be less sunspots in the sun in the years ahead, a few years ahead. And this is one of the indicators of the market fall down, because people are more excited when there are sunspots on the sun And of course, as we know from the astrological side, when there are outer planets in the signs of fire, so there will be no fire, there will be less sunspots, so we have to pay attention to our financial conditions and the economy in general. And the next slide, please.
Thank you, Oner. We do need to close.
Okay.
Oops.
So
that's the end.
Thank you. Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So are you complete? Do you have a last word or?
Actually, we are about to ending things. If you put the next slide, Jupiter is just behind Saturn. Pardon?
That was the last slide I had.
Yeah, one more. Yes, here. Jupiter is just behind Saturn. Saturn is behind Pluto, and Jupiter is behind Pluto as well. So I think 2019 is the last time when our global economy or capitalism is as we know. And then by 2020, I think we are going to start a new cycle, a new era in economies. And in the years ahead, I think we will remember this eclipse as a closing eclipse of the last cycles for a long year. Now we are about to start a new cycle because these three planets will be making new moon conjunctions in the sky, especially Jupiter and Saturn will be in conjunction in sign Aquarius, will be showing us the new era is beginning and new economy is coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We hope it's going to be a better economy.
We hope.
Thank you so much from Turkey.